All right, we're moving on to day 2 of factoring trinomials, where the a value, the coefficient of the square term, is 1. 1, 1, 1. Here's what I hope you took out of yesterday. First step is take a look. Coefficient is 1, okay. Look at the c value, the c term. The c term is a positive 12. Anytime the c term is positive, like this one or this one, you're going to add to make the b value. You're also going to get two of the same signs. You're either going to get a plus plus or a minus minus in your parentheses every single time. So if I take my first problem here, make my two parentheses, I'm going to start by just filling in my firsts. My n and my n multiplies to make n squared. And now I'm looking for something to put here in the lasts. I'm looking for a pair of numbers that are going to multiply to make 12 and add to make 7. They're both going to have the same sign, and they're both going to be positives because the b is a positive 7. So I can fill in a plus and a plus immediately. So I need numbers that multiply to make 12, add to make 7. That's 4 and 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 plus 3 is 7. 4 and 3. Same idea here. I'll make my two parentheses. These are all going to have two parentheses, two binomials. I'll fill in my firsts, my x, my x. That's how I get my x squared there. And look at my c. My c is a positive. So I'm going to add to make the b, and I need a negative number. So I need two negatives here, because a negative times a negative makes my positive 15, and a negative plus another negative makes even more negative. So I need to multiply to make 15, add to make 8. My factors would be, my pair of numbers would be 3 and 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 plus 5 is 8, or technically negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. That's when the c term is positive. When the c value is negative, like it is here, negative 18, and here, negative 6, I'm not going to add to make the b value. I'm going to subtract to make the b value. And my two parentheses are not going to have the same signs. They're going to have opposite signs, one positive and one negative. And that's how I get a negative c value, because if I multiply a positive times a negative, I get a negative. So I'll fill in for this one my n and my n. And I need to multiply to make 18 and subtract to make 3. So factors of 18 to subtract to make 3 would be 6 and 3. One of those will be positive, one of those will be negative. And I look at my b value. My b value is a positive 3. Well, I can't make the 6 negative, because then I'll get a negative 3 when I combine this 6 and the 3. So my larger of my two factors gets the sign of that b term. Plus 6 minus 3. And last but not least, I'll fill in my y's. I'm going to multiply to make 6 and subtract to make 5. Subtract to make 5. This is a tricky one, because factors of 6 can also add to make 5. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. But I'm not adding to make 5, I'm subtracting, because the c value is negative. So my factors of 6 to subtract to make 5 are 6 and 1. I need my larger of these two factors to be the sign of this b. So negative 5y means I'm going to get a negative 6 and a positive 1. That's what you should have learned yesterday. That's what you should have taken away from yesterday's lesson. Today's lesson is going to take it a step further and then another step further, like we always do. I'm going to start with a simple con. Simple con is going to have some factoring, just like this, just like we just did. You're going to make two binomials. I'm not going to do this one for you. I'm just going to make two binomials the same way I just did up there. Type them in, done deal. Make sure you use the parentheses on the con. Okay? Positive c term means I'm going to add to make 9. And that means I'm going to have two of the same signs, and that's what they'll be. That was on you. Same con, though, gives you a skill that probably looks harder. It's actually easier. This rectangle's area is x squared minus 7x plus 10. And they give you the width, they want the length. They gave you one of the factors. They gave you x minus 5. You just need to find the other factor. They did half of the factoring for you. Well, you know I gotta have an x. And I need something here. I need a sign and a number. Well, if I have to make positive 10, and this is negative 5 and multiplies, well, this has to be another negative to make that positive, and it's got to be a 2. And that works out because, look, the outers give me negative 2x, the inners give me negative 5x, that gives me negative 7x when I combine. So if the width is x minus 5, the length is x minus 2. They already gave you half of the factoring. Looks harder, it's actually easier. That's the first con. Second con, makes me look like a liar. I said the A number would always be a 1, and now it's not. It says factor completely. Anytime I see the word completely, it makes me think there's more than one step in this process. You want this A value to be a 1. In all of these skills, for now, that's not going to be true soon, but for now, we always want the A value to be 1. Well, it's 3. But if I look at all 3 of these terms, they have a greatest common factor. And guess what it is? It's 3. In this skill, the greatest common factor will always be whatever the A value is because we want that A value to be 1. So I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor of 3. Divide it out like we did in the section last week. Divide it out, and I get an x squared left over. Divide 3 out of 33x, and I get 11x. And divide 3 out of 90, and I get 30. That's not factored completely, though. That's just factored with the greatest common factor. And now I'm going to ignore this greatest common factor, and I'm going to factor this trinomial. I'm going to factor this into 2 parentheses. The same way I just did. I have an x and an x. I have a positive c term, so I'm going to be adding to make 11. I'm going to get 2 of the same exact signs in my 2 binomials. They'll both be whatever this is. They'll both be a plus. And factors of 30 that add to make 11 are 5 and 6. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 plus 6 is 11. The greatest common factor just comes down. So now my final answer is the greatest common factor that had the original trinomial, and then the 2 binomials that I broke down the remaining trinomial into. So you're going to have to do a greatest common factor before you do your factoring. Greatest common factor is the most common, most basic form of factoring, and we're going to do it in almost everything we do. All right, that's your task for today. Get at it.